I hope I'm not overdoing this Prophet VS content at the minute, but enough people have asked me what the Behringer Pro VS Mini sounds like compared to the Arturia, so I'm going to put it up against the Arturia software, and also the Modwave has got Prophet VS files in it as well. So what do they sound like, and what do they sound like compared to my own from my Prophet VS? So 4 things here: the Modwave, Prophet VS Mini, the Arturia Prophet VS V, and my Prophet VS waves in the Modwave. So just kick off with my my waves from my Prophet VS, and this open like this with no filtering just sounds identical to the Prophet. Couldn't fit it all on the table. So here's the Arturia, and you can hear it retains all that lovely sort of digital weirdness. And if we look at if we take a look at the oscilloscopes, we can see that the Arturia is retaining those 8-bit features, if that's what they are, in those steps, as we've got in the ones I've sampled from my own. And if we look at the frequency analysis on there, you can see the Arturia's actually got a little bit more going on the high end. And talking of the high end, if we go even higher on the Arturia, listen to all that weird aliasing you get, and that's exactly the same as you get on the Prophet VS. I showed that in my Pro VS Mini versus the Prophet VS on a couple of patches, but that sounds identical to it. If we go up on the Korg, the aliasing isn't there, it's a bit smoothed out, but we've still got that little high-pitched 10K squeak, haven't we? But I've got to say, I do love that nastiness you get with the Arturia, and that must have been programmed in, surely. And now I will go over to the ones that are already in the Korg. You can see a lot smoother again. So it loses that digital crunch, really. Go back to the Korg. Just hasn't got that character, has it? So if you do have a Modwave, the Prophet VS doesn't sound too much like a Prophet VS at the low end, at least if we go higher up the keyboard. That's the Prophet VS waves from mine. There's not much difference, is there? There's a couple of little bits really high up that are missing, but they're the same bits that we're missing down there, I think. But maybe they just made it sound smoother. Maybe that's what it was intended to sound like in the first place. And back in the 80s, sequential just couldn't do that. So it's almost like a cleaned up, polished up version of the Prophet VS that you already get in there. But if you want the really crunchy, 80s sounding ones, buy mine. Okay, back to the Arturia. And all that lovely aliasing, and then come back down again. And we'll try this on the Behringer. Back to the Arturia. Behringer, I don't know what's going on with that. Why there's that funny little buzz. And this is one I picked at random. Down the octave. And I think that sort of covers the main differences, really. I'm only talking about the oscillators here. I'm not going to go into the chorus and stuff. Modwave doesn't have it and things like that. But let's just try a couple of others, shall we? So this is wave 32, which is essentially a sine. Got that little buzz on there. That's the sample from mine. Let's go to 32 on the Arturia. You can see some stepping on that wave shape. But I've got to say, it is smoother than mine. But it does have some sort of artifact in there. You can hear that little buzz, and you can see on the frequency analysis those 3 little spikes up top. Oh, and there's 3 there. They're just a different pitch, aren't they? Let me go over to the Behringer. Down to number 32. Did I try 32 last time? Can't remember. And then Korg zone. Try another, something with a few more harmonics in it perhaps. That's wave 60. And you can see it's got that step in. Let's go to 60 on the Arturia. They're similar again, aren't they? Go to the internal ones from the Korg. And now the Behringer. So again, we've got that weird buzz, haven't we? Let's go for a couple of octaves. And we're getting some quite high frequencies there off the Behringer. It's not like it completely chops them off. Back to 118. We're getting that really high peak on the Behringer. And some aliasing sort of sounds. There you go, there's some nice ones there. But it's almost completely cut out when you get to that C. It's a shame. They have done something, I think, some anti-aliasing thing. Maybe it just goes too mental up there, but you do lose a bit of that character, don't you, that charm. Here's another one that's nice and soft but glassy. Arturia again stacking up really well. Let's just have a listen to the original samples in the Modwave. Not bad. Not quite as shiny. Or quite as buzzy. Let's go down a couple of octaves. So that's the Arturia. That's lovely, that. Let's go to the samples from mine. Yeah. Arturia's really got the feel, hasn't it? And again, wave shape looks very steppy. Just check on the Korgs. Yeah, smooth over again. I think they've tried to make the ideal wave shapes that sequential we're looking for in the first instance, perhaps. Because we're still getting those high-end bits. Not quite as much of the madness we get with that. But I do like the madness. The Arturia is absolutely bang on. Okay, it was wave 48. What's going on there? Anyway, let's try it a couple of octaves up. That's weird. I can't complain if it's got artifacts. I'd have said how much I like them, but they're quite strange ones. That's the looping point wrong, that is. I mean, I can't be sure. That's what it feels like to me. It's just wrong, isn't it? Let's go lower. into my sample. Yeah, looking at those graphs again, Arturia and the one from mine are really close. Not identical, but you know, the ones from the Korg itself, not so good, and the ones from the Behringer, not so good again. So that was just a quick one, digging in a little bit deeper. Arturia is absolutely bang on compared to my Prophet VS. I know I've not got the Prophet VS on the table, but just believe me, I've been playing it for the last couple of weeks. The Modwave is pretty good, and up the high end, it's, you know, it's fine with the VS waves that come with it, but as soon as you go down to the really low end, it loses all that character. And the Behringer, as we heard the other day, it just sounds like someone's messed up getting the wavetables into that, and maybe an anti-aliasing filter or something as well to get rid of that harshness. But it's really affected the sound. But I'm hoping that a firmware update will sort all that out. Well, I hope that was of use or interesting to somebody somewhere. If it was, don't forget to check out my Patreon, where for the price of a grande iced sugar-free vanilla latte with soy milk per month, you get access to patches, samples, tutorials, and other bits and bobs. Or go to my Starsky Car website. I've got all the samples of this if you want to download them. And I will see you next time.